As we look at Doug Williams, who's 5 for 7 and 81 yards. Minnesota passed for 132 yards in the arm of Tommy Kramer in the first quarter. And you could sum up the quarter very simply. 2 scoring drives by Minnesota, 1 by Tampa Bay. And thus, 152 yards for Minnesota, 93 for Tampa Bay in the first period. And the Bucs are on their second drive of the football game. First down inside the 50. He wants to go deep. He's got House open. Kevin House, touchdown. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers come right back with their second drive. The bomb 50 yards away, make it 49 to rookie Kevin House.
Tremendous play as House went down. They faked the short one, just turned on the speed, and he has got it. He is coming into his own, isn't he? He got behind right, touchdown, pass right on the numbers, and he leaps in for the touchdown. And I'm telling you what, we're seeing quite a football game.
That is for sure. And we have yet to see a punt because they just move it on down for scores. Kevin House has got 2 touchdown passes, both of them by the veteran Nate Wright. That's an interesting development that bears some further discussion. Let's watch Yepremian. This one he has, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have pulled back to within 1 point. With 14:53 remaining in the first half, the Vikings 14, the Buccaneers 13. Doug Williams has tossed twice now to Kevin House for Buccaneer touchdowns, 49 yards to the rookie Kevin House, and twice he has burned the veteran Nate Wright. The kickoff is taken by Eddie Payton. Payton running hard. Good return over the 30 to the 34-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. And he's pulled down there by the linebacker Brantley. So the Bucs going 69 yards in 4 plays. And Kevin House coming into this game and analyzing the Vikings secondary said that they have one guy, Johnny Turner, who runs a 4.55 40. The rest of them are 4.7 or 4.8. He says my speed will be definitely an advantage. He runs it in 4.4. Well, he has certainly proved the point already in this game, beating Nate Wright twice now for scores. It is first down, Minnesota. They have scored on both possessions. Play action, Kramer. Out for Ricky Young. Young up the sideline, cuts inside Curtis Jordan, then is taken down by Richard Wood that picks up 9 yards on the play.
We're getting some real good action by our quarterbacks. That time he looks downfield, sees nobody's open, so quickly goes to his safety valve, boom, boom, like that. And Ricky Young is great out of the backfield. He catches a lot of passes, puts a good move on Jordan here, gets a few extra yards out of it, almost a first down, 9.5 yards.
You know, just returning to Kevin House, he had only 1 catch before last week, caught 4 against Pittsburgh, and he's been a big man here today. Ted Brown, the big man for the Vikings, gets the first down yardage over the 45 to the 46-yard line as the Vikings continue to move it at will. That's the first down rushing by either team today.
That's the thing that is contrary. Everybody says you got to establish the run, and I've always said you don't have to establish the run, and they're making me right here. You throw the ball with all the new rules and regulations that have helped passing games. You might as well go out and establish the pass, and then you can run.
Vikings have been helped in their drives by the 3 good returns by Eddie Payton. He's got a total of 81. The only mistake he made it deep in the end zone was wiped out anyway on the offside charged against Tampa Bay. Kramer on first down has time. Sammy White, who had slipped down, got himself back up to make a diving catch. And a first down, Minnesota driving again at the 37. Jordan on the coverage.
You're exactly right. Sammy White slipped down to his knees, got up, and still made the grab as Kramer waited for him. And here comes the ball. Nice two-handed catch as Curtis Jordan makes the tackle. First down, Minnesota.
Johnny, I've been remiss in not reporting that Leroy Selman has been missing here. Went out during the last Viking offensive series. He was poked in the eye and has not returned as yet. So that could be a factor as the afternoon goes along. This is a draw to Ricky Young, and he's pulled down by Bruce Radford, number 78. Reserve lineman from Grambling, acquired on waivers from Denver this year. Former pick of the Broncos, a 3rd-round pick last year. So Radford working in Selman's spot. Dave Stalls was also in there, and there is Leroy Selman. all-world, described by many observers of pro football's defensive linemen. And got a nice pack on that eye. 2nd down and 7 for the Vikings. Slot formation left. Kramer, lots of time again, intended for Robert Miller out of the backfield, but incomplete with coverage from Cotney and Richard Wood. 3rd down. And so now the Vikings in a dicey 3rd down spot to try and keep the drive alive. Neither team has been stopped as yet.
That's what I was going to say. We might have the first punt of the game if they don't get the first down. Wouldn't, well, they're down to the 35. That'd be a pretty long field goal.
Well, let's see what they do. Slot formation left, White in the slot. Rashad wide left, Terry LeCount wide right. Extra backs are in for Tampa Bay. Kramer, he's got LeCount open. First down to the 16-yard line, where he is hit by number 25, Curtis Jordan. But the Vikings not only keep it alive, they're in scoring position again.
That ball almost looked like a wounded duck as it was going through the air, but it got there almost end over end, and LeCount had driven Jordan off a couple of yards, and all Jordan could do was react and make the tackle. First down, Minnesota.
At the 16-yard line of Tampa Bay, these teams have literally been marching down the field once they've had possession from the kickoff. 14-13. Minnesota leads Tampa Bay in this all-important Central Division battle. Division-leading Detroit currently behind in their game to Baltimore. This is Ricky Young. Pulled down from behind with a shoestring tackle by number 76, Dave Logan, the second-year man from Pittsburgh. David Lewis, the linebacker, made sure he got no farther. A gain of 1. 2nd. And, well, let's call it 8.5. The ball is just inside the 15.
The Buccaneers defense has given up a lot of yards today, and actually Tampa Bay had some problems with injuries on the defense early in the year, but the last couple of games they've started to come around, but so far today they haven't been able to stop Minnesota at anything.
Reggie Lewis, number 79, is in Sullivan's spot at right defensive end. Little rollout left by Kramer, now scrambling up the middle. Inside the 5-yard line to Ahmad Rashad. And it was Richard Wood, now make it Cedric Brown, number 34, who stopped him there. Kramer, having to scramble, found the open man.
Just a great individual play by Kramer. As you see, they're not getting any pass rush. This time he goes out of the pocket. He's very quick, and he spots Rashad. He had to throw back against the grain, against the way he was running, and that's very tough to do. And Kramer looked like a Fran Tarkington on that play, didn't he?
Sure did. 3 tight ends are in now for the Vikings here as they are approaching the goal line. Bob Tucker goes in motion, now comes back to the wing. Trying to get it to Young in the corner, and it is incomplete. They had both Young and Sensor there. And Cedric Brown, deep on the coverage, wound up in one of the cheap seats over there in this baseball field at Metropolitan Stadium.
And a good play by Kramer. He saw the play was covered. He just threw it out of the end zone. They tried to surprise Tampa Bay with a first down pass from the 3, and the Buccaneers were waiting for that one.
2nd and goal from the 3. Robert Miller, Ted Brown are in at running back. Bob Brewer, Bob Tucker, Joe Sensor, 3 tight ends in to block. They give it to Brown, trying to make the corner. He does. Ted Brown has scored for the Vikings from 3 yards out. And 3 times the Vikings have taken a kickoff and gone all the way. 65 yards in 10 plays. And Ted Brown was piled up at the corner and gets up slowly.
Is he holding his knee? If it's his knee, he had a knee injury last year. It was almost a forward shovel pass here. Watch, Kramer just throws a forward shovel pass, and he gets some good blocking out in front. Number 35, Robert Miller, threw a good block as he is into the corner of the end zone for the touchdown.
Looked like he stretched out his left leg to get into the end zone and took a hit right at that point. Let's see it again. We can see it here. And evidently it wasn't the contact at all. It was the fact when he came down on the left leg, it looked like somehow he either slipped or twisted his right leg, and that's what's being attended to at the moment. And this young man, who is really coming into his own as a Viking running back, should he go down, that would be a severe loss for Minnesota. 3-yard touchdown run by Ted Brown. And the Vikings going for the point after. Danmar. And he has it. So with 9:26 remaining here in this first half of play, Minnesota Vikings 21, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13. Well, on the Vikings bench, the main man's getting himself some attention there. They're just now rolled up to take a look at that right knee, which looks like he already has a wrap of some kind on it. And Danmar will kick it off for Minnesota. They lead it 21-13. We've not had a punt. Another short kickoff by Danmar. Tony Davis, number 27, gets out to the 30-yard line, and each team has had good field position. Good returns by Eddie Payton for Minnesota. Short kickoffs by Danmar for the Vikings have given the Bucs good field position on the kickoffs. Dallas creeping back against St. Louis. Once trailed 14-0, have closed it to 14-10 in the second quarter. And there you see the Falcons leading the Saints, who have yet to get a victory, 17-7 in the third.
And look what I see above the stadium. Wouldn't you love to be up there in that balloon calling this game? This beautiful balloon on a beautiful day.
We can't show that balloon, John, for obvious reasons. In any event, take our word for it. There is a hot air balloon up there. Slot formation right for Tampa Bay from their own 30-yard line on first down. Williams, screen pass, Ricky Bell. He's got blockers. He's got a first down over the 40 to the 42-yard line. Pulled down by Doug Sutherland and Matt Blair.
Nice screen here. You're going to see the right side of the offensive line just move right over there and go out in front. There's Ray Snell. There's Steve Wilson, throws a good block right in front. And Ricky Bell does the right thing, I would say. Follow those big men.
This young man is now 7 of 9. Kramer is 13 of 20 for Minnesota, 187 yards already. Seaman is in the game at linebacker, joining the other three on first down. Ricky Bell has a good hold on the ball, but it's recovered by Tampa. And let's see if they hold on. Ricky Bell, who does not fumble very much, dropped one there after picking up about 8 yards. And I believe it was Jim Obradovich, or maybe Giles, Jimmy Giles, yes, who picked up the loose ball for Tampa.
There was the hit, and there's Jimmy Giles standing there, says, I got it. I remember George Hallis used to say, the guys who recover the fumble, the guys that aren't doing anything.
Well, Fred McNeil did something. It was he who put that rap on Ricky Bell. Second and a long 2 for the Bucs at midfield, close to midfield. Oh, what play there by number 75, Randy Holloway, hopping Ricky Bell and driving him back for a loss. Quite a charge by that front four.
Here comes Mr. Holloway, boom, right through there, and stops Bell before he can even get started.
The number 1 pick from Pittsburgh in 1978. Been a little impatience with these youngsters replacing the famous Purple People Eaters, but it looks like they are getting it all together. Third down. Extra defensive backs are in for the Vikings on 3rd and 5. Bell the lone setback. 3 wide receivers. Out to Bell. And it looks like he has the first down. Keith Nord pulls him down right near the marker. And let's see how they mark it. And it is at the 48-yard line, an apparent first down for Tampa Bay on a big 3rd down situation. Each team has been able to convert when they've been faced with that.
It is a first down. A nice fingertip catch by Bell as Williams was under pressure from the blitz and just put the ball right out there, reached out there very nicely, and Nord makes a tackle, but not in time, and our record is still intact. Nobody's had to punt.
That's right. And again, a nice feathered ball from Williams in a situation where he had to do it. New England leads Los Angeles 14-10 in the 3rd quarter. Quite a ball game going there. First down, Tampa. Hagen's in motion. Here comes the rush from White. He ducks under it and throws it out of bounds. 2 receivers down. There's Giles and Hagens. He just wanted to unload. The flag is down where Williams was hit.
I think they're going to call a face mask on it, or there it is.
That's the signal.
He really gets hit right in the chops, or it would have been the chops if he didn't have a face bar, but that can be awfully hard on the neck. As you can see the rush here, and coming by was James White.
Number 72 defense. That's the quarterback as he went by. First down.
Well, I tell you, Dick Jorgensen gives you a full play-by-play on his penalties, which is terrific for the fans in the house to really get such a clear explanation of exactly what happened.
He should be up in the booth.
That's right. Come on up here, Dick. I don't want to run around down there with all those big guys, though.
Which one of us is going down there?
Not me. First down, Tampa Bay. Ricky Bell. He's got a good hole. Ricky Bell. Look at him batter his way for an extra couple and a gain of close to 7 on the play. And the word on Ted Brown is that he has a bruised right knee. So we'll see if he comes back in when the Vikings get the ball again. Studwell finally the man to get Ricky Bell down, bringing up 2nd and 3. And word from Detroit, where the Lions are losing, Billy Sims has just crossed the 1,000-yard mark for the season in rushing. 4 linebackers are in for the Vikings now on 2nd and 4. Make it a long 3. In the I formation, Ricky Bell gets a good block from Tony Davis, shakes out one tackle, but not the second one from Duck White, number 72, and the cornerback Johnny Turner, number 27, and he got very little of anything on the play. Well, forward motion gets him a yard, brings up 3rd and 2. 3rd down conversions. The Vikes have done it 5 out of 5. The Bucks have done it 4 out of 4, and they're faced with another one here.
Teams usually go, what, 25, 30% on 3rd down conversions? It's amazing.
It really is. Slot formation right. Let's see if the Bucks can do it again. Bell and Johnny Davis are the running backs now. Williams, lots of time, up the middle of the short man, incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Giles, and Jeff Seaman was all over him. And for the first time, the drive has been blunted.
He was almost all over him too soon, as Williams wanted to throw downfield, couldn't find anybody, and threw a 5-yard little short pass there, which was incomplete, and the first time in the game somebody has been stopped.
Well, but it looks like they're going to go for it here. The Bucks are going to go for it. They trail 21-13. They have a 4th and 2 at the 35-yard line. It would be out of Yepremian's range. So John McKay says, let's not punt it, let's go for it. Hagan's in the slot right. Pressure on Williams. Gets it away, incomplete. The safety blitz from Hannon. And a good rush by James Duck White. Got the pressure on Williams on 4th down, and so the Vikings will take over.
And you said it right. Pressure, pressure. Hannon comes. Nord comes. James White will be there. But it was Hannon that got there first. It caused him to adjust, and it was James White that put the hit on just as he tried to release the ball. So a drive falters. The Minnesota Vikings take over, leading the game by a score of 21-13.
We have had quite a half of football. Minnesota leads it 21-13. They have stopped the Buccaneers for the first time. On 4 downs, they have first down at the 35-yard line of Minnesota. Tommy Kramer at quarterback has been brilliant thus far. Out of the backfield, Ricky Young. Young has a first down to the 45-yard line of the Vikings, circling out of the backfield and picking up 10. He's pulled down by the linebacker Cecil Johnson, with help from Dewey Selman, number 58.
He faked his blocking real well and just came across the line of scrimmage there, and watch him dip under the tackles here. Gets his head underneath and busts through and got almost the first down.
Johnny Green Bay currently tied for 3rd place with Tampa Bay at 4-5-1 here in the NFC Central, trailing the Giants at halftime 14-7. And the leading Detroit Lions are losing to Baltimore 10-0 in the 3rd period of that game. And so the Vikings and the Bucks getting help at the moment with the Lions and Green Bay both behind.
And it is a first down for Minnesota.
St. Louis leading Dallas now 21-10 in that game. I had already given Minnesota the first down. And it is at the 45-yard line. In motion, the tight end Sensor. Kramer deep sideline. Sammy White complete. First down at the 39-yard line of Tampa Bay. Kramer is now 15 of 22.
Curtis Jordan is playing way off that time. Sammy White had plenty of room to maneuver as Jordan was by himself, and he wasn't going to let Sammy White get behind him. And look at that. Plenty of room. Perfect timing. Precision pass.
We have not seen Leroy Selman back in for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's that Cardinal score in the third period. 21-10. Vikings driving again, having stopped the Buccaneers. Screen pass, Ricky Young, number 34, and it's Dave Stalls, a former Dallas Cowboy, pulling him down. Ball came loose, but play had already been whistled dead. That catch for Sammy White, his 5th of the day, 68 yards. And we still have nearly 4 minutes, a little more than 4 minutes remaining in the first half.
And boy, does Kramer mix up his receivers. Brown has caught 41, Rashad 39, Young 33, Sammy White 28, and the tight ends combined have caught 30. That's what you call spreading them around.
3 wide receivers are in. Terry LeCount, 1 running back. LeCount, the 3rd wide receiver. Kramer with lots of time. Joe Sensor. That's the play that scored the touchdown. Going the other way, it gets them a first down to the 22-yard line. Richard Wood made the tackle, number 54.
And the Vikings are taking advantage of what they'll give to you. That's the delay. They go downfield. They drop everybody off. So the Vikings are keeping a slow blocker who was Sensor that time and taking him downfield for the short pass in front of him, and they're running with the ball. By slow blocking means he stays in the line and blocks for a couple of seconds and then takes off down the field on a delay.
Bob Tucker has come in for Sensor. Sammy White goes wide right, number 85. Rashad wide left, number 28. Kramer 17 of 24. Kramer under pressure for the first time, and he almost got it complete to Ahmad Rashad. Kohler and Logan got to Kramer, and Kramer is slow to get up. And timeout is being called down there for the injury to Tommy Kramer. That is the first time that the Buccaneers have had any real pressure on the quarterback, and they put a pretty good lick on him. Bill Kohler and Dave Logan. Steve Dills warms up on the sideline. He played the week before last against Washington when Kramer was bothered with a thumb and finger injury. Dills did quite a job. The Redskins rumped.
He might have gotten hit in the midsection. The wind knocked out of him. They caught him up in the air trying to throw that pass. Actually, there was one time that he could have run around to the right side, but he kept looking for his receivers, and paid the price.
So we have 2:52 remaining in the first half, with the Vikings holding a 21-13 lead, and they are second down at the Tampa 22.
Let's take a look at that play where Kramer got hurt as he goes back. Here's where he could have run to the right side. He decides he's going to throw. You're going to see Logan put pressure on him right here, and then Bill Kohler gets through right here and hits him when he's up in the air right in the chest. So probably mostly he got the wind knocked out of him, and there he is, Tommy Kramer taking a blow.
Yeah, he looks all right. Steve Dills, who came in to relieve him last week, did real well. He's in there now after he had the wind knocked out of him in the fourth quarter last week. Here's Ricky Young with a good hold to the 15-yard line of Tampa Bay. Richard Wood, the linebacker, 54, put the stop on him, but good blocking by Hamilton and Yari on the right side.
And this time you'll see number 23, Ted Brown. He goes through the hole. He can't find anybody to block. Good block by Wes Hamilton, number 61. And finally, the Buccaneers bring him down.
Kramer is back in, and it is 3rd and 3 with the ball at the 15-yard line of Tampa Bay. The Giants lead Green Bay 21-7 now in the third quarter. Big one for Green Bay today. Rolling is Kramer, and complete to Rashad, knocked out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Mark Cotney, number 33. But again, Rashad with lots of room to catch the football.
Let's take a look at Rashad. The crisscross with Sammy White, and he's wide open, as there was nothing that Cotney could do but knock him out of bounds. But they crisscrossed the wide receivers, and that's tough to cover, tough to cover.
It is 1st and goal. Radford goes out for Tampa Bay. Reggie Lewis, 79, comes in. The Detroit Lions still trail, but they have a field goal to make it 10-3 in the third quarter. Baltimore in front. 1st and goal, Minnesota, threatening to widen their lead. Draw play. Ted Brown tripped up at the 6-yard line, falls over the 5. Richard Wood sliced in to upset him, and then David Lewis and Dewey Selman finished him off at the 5-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 5. And we have 2 minutes to play in the first half here at Bloomington. A high-scoring affair with Minnesota threatening again and leading 21-13. Well, the Detroit Lions hanging in there against the Baltimore Colts. That field goal has cut the margin to 7 points. A crucial game for them. Meanwhile, the Packers try to keep pace in the division, trailing the Giants 21-7 now. Giants upset Dallas last week. Dallas in trouble again this week. The Cardinals with a 21-17 lead. Here at Minnesota, 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. The Vikings in front and Weidman. Play action. Rolling is Kramer. Kramer is hit at the 2-yard line. Picked up a couple on the run.
Well, here's a case where Kramer had a receiver, Ted Brown, right out in front of him there. He didn't know whether to throw or to run, and finally he decides to run. Brown tried to block David Lewis. Lewis hung in there and was the primary tackler on that play.
It'll be 3rd and goal. The ball is spotted close to the 2-yard line. By the way, the 238 yards in passing by Kramer unofficially in this first half, the most allowed by Tampa Bay in one half this season. As Kramer has really picked them apart, but Tampa Bay has done their fair share of passing successfully today. 3 tight ends are in. Tucker, Brewer, and Sensor. In motion is Ricky Young. Rolling is Kramer. Back the other way. Complete. Good coverage that time in the end zone on Bob Tucker. And the linebacker, well, no, it was 2 secondary men, Curtis Jordan and Mike Washington.
Tampa Bay had this defensed, and then it was Curtis Jordan who made the great save right there at the last second and batted the ball away. Number 25, Curtis Jordan.
You saw number 40, Washington, making sure that Tucker didn't get a second chance. He gave him a pretty good lick. So Dan Meyer will come in for the field goal attempt. He'll spot it at the 9, a 19-yard try. Tampa Bay can escape with just the field goal scored against them. And Dan Meyer nails it from 19 yards out. So the Minnesota Vikings extend their lead, but only by the field goal in a wide-open scoring game here in the first half. We're down to 146, and the Vikings now lead at 24-13. Quickly, a couple of other scores for you. Philadelphia way out in front of Washington, Johnny, 24-0. Jerry Robinson returned a fumble by the Redskins, 59 yards for the score there in the third period. St. Louis and Dallas in a ding-dong battle. The Cardinals 21, Dallas 17 in the second period. Danny White has just passed to Tony Hill for the Dallas score. So the Vikings went 64 yards in 10 plays after they had finally stopped Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay going for it on 4th and 2 in long field goal range territory, Minnesota territory. The Vikings stopped them and took it 64 yards for the Dan Meyer field goal. The deep man, Gary Davis for the Bucs, and there's Dan Meyer.
And I think the big difference in this Tampa Bay defense this year is that last year they had 40 sacks, and this year they only have 11 so far, and they haven't been able to sack Kramer. They're not getting to the passer. Of course, you don't get as many sacks when you have a 3-man rush, but with Selman out of there, that kind of hurts the rush. Hasn't gotten so many sacks this year, but he gets a lot of pressures where he puts pressure on the passer.
Well, and they lost Randy Crowder early in the season, and he was off to a terrific start. They've got a youngster in David Logan in that spot. So now without Crowder and Selman, that's a little different 3-man front. Davis gets to the 15-yard line, and he is knocked down right there. And that is the best kickoff by either team, getting the first down at the 26-yard line. I believe I said the 15. I meant the 25, and they're going to spot it right at the 25. So Tampa Bay will start from there with 1:41 to go first half.
And we have to expect them to throw the ball. We'll see if the Vikings adjust and put a little double, triple coverage on Kevin House, who has been running like a house of fire.
Sure has. In motion and now lining up on the wing, Gordon Jones on the left side. Williams, deep sideline, wide open. Obradovic, the tight end, and he has a first down at the 39-yard line. The Vikings, Larry Brune, number 24, trying to claim he was out of bounds when he caught the ball. The officials say otherwise.
Obradovic down the field and then out to the sidelines with the wide receiver going deep. Here comes the ball. Our vantage point's not the greatest. You can't really tell there. But the officials are right on the spot, and they never make a mistake, do they?
No, never. First down at the 40-yard line. Tampa Bay. Three-man front, four linebackers in for the Vikings. On first down, they're expecting pass, and they get it. Deep sideline and out of bounds, incomplete. Kevin House slipped, and however, I don't think he could have got to that ball. Second and 10, 1:28 to play in the half. Nate Wright on the coverage.
The Vikings have so many backs in there, I can hardly count them. I think they had 7 in the last play.
Well, a little special feature with Irv Cross bringing you the changing of the guard. That'll be coming up at halftime. Of course, we'll have all the scores from around the NFL for you. Second and 10. Williams rolling right, trying to find an open man. Sideline, incomplete. Flag is down after the play. Kevin House, the intended receiver, or Higgins make it. Isaac Higgins, 81. And the ball right in and out of his hands. Flag down back at the line of scrimmage. Seemed to be thrown after the pass was thrown.
Let's see if Doug Williams gets across the line of scrimmage. He does not. They must have an illegal receiver down the field. But House dropped the ball. Higgins dropped the ball, and it's going back to be a penalty against Tampa Bay.
Well, each team has taken now one penalty that certainly had some effect.
Ineligible downfield on the pass, number 72. Offense, still second down.
That's the rookie guard, Ray Snell. I don't think he was out looking for the ball to be thrown to him, but he was illegally downfield.
Well, I think he thought Williams was going to run the ball because he rolled out and started taking off, and he figured he'd better go throw a block.
Right you are, Johnny. So it is second down and 20 from the 30-yard line of Tampa Bay. 1:22 on the clock. Williams, lots of time, and it is intercepted by Tommy Hannon, intended for Kevin House out at midfield.
Well, let's take a look at Kevin House as he goes down. You see double coverage, comes back to the side. He's got Hannon in front, and the deep man, the ball was just slightly batted away by Hannon. A good play, and I was really surprised Williams got the ball that close. He was on the run. He had to throw it at the last second and threw a darn good pass under the circumstances.
The Giants now lead Green Bay 21-14. The Packers have scored Lynn Dickey to rookie running back Jerry Ellis. 4-yard touchdown. So Green Bay hanging in against the Giants, and they're currently tied with Tampa Bay on the NFC Central. We'll be watching it for you. Third down. Williams out quickly to Ricky Bell. Gets some blockers, and a good defensive play, and Bell appears to be hurt on that tackle by Tommy Hannon. He picked up about 9 yards on the play. Hannon got him very low, and Bell is favoring his right leg. Well, the Vikings lost Ted Brown earlier with a bruised knee, but he came back. But the Bucs have had Leroy Selman hurt, who has not returned.
This was a good play with considering the Vikings defense, a little screen out there, and you're going to see Hannon come in right here. Hannon hits him right down low, right there on the knee, what looks like with his helmet and his shoulder, and then he spins out. It might have been on the spin out on the knee, but he is really suffering down there. Boy.
Well, this is third and very long, back at the 18-yard line.
Well, it's a tough call now when you have so far to go, and with the Vikings playing way down the field, you got to maybe try and throw something underneath and get somebody on the fly coming across the field. It's pretty tough to throw any kind of a deep out or anything to get enough for the first down. It's either that or try and just run it out. But if they did try and run it out, the Vikings would call a quick timeout.
We have not had a punt in this first half. The only a fourth down situation. It was 4th and 2 for Tampa Bay, and they went for it. The Vikings stopped them on an incomplete pass. Gary Davis, lots of running room on the draw play, gets to the 32-yard line before he stopped. This will bring up 4th down. It also brought a flag downfield on the play. Kurt Knopf made the hit for the Vikings, number 25. Matt Blair was there as well, and let's see what this penalty is. And while we await it, this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Here's Dick Jorgensen. Well, personal foul signaled against the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, that's a tough penalty. I think they're going to get an automatic first down.
Any rebroadcaster or the use of this telecast, and Johnny Morris, without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings in the National Football League, is prohibited.
Personal foul, number 27, defense, forearm to the chin. First up.
Johnny Turner used the old forearm shiver and got caught.
Well, what a time to get a penalty like that when they had about, I don't know how many yards they had to go to get the first down, and now you give them a life with a minute to go.
Minute and 2 seconds. There's Johnny Turner. First down at the Tampa Bay 46. Williams, lots of time. Now running out of it. Dumps it off to an ineligible receiver who dropped the ball. And Doug Martin is going to run it in, and it should be an incomplete pass.
They may have ruled it a lateral. I don't know. If he ruled it,
this is an interesting situation here.
Charlie Hanna said, I didn't want the ball.
Charlie Hanna was the right offensive tackle and ineligible receiver. There are 4 flags down. Vikings look like they are going to be recipients of a touchdown on the play the way they're acting. It was picked up by Randy Holloway. Randy Holloway, number 75, after Hanna had thrown the ball to the ground.
What happens, that was I think they're going to rule it a lateral, and Hanna assumed, thinking I'm not an eligible receiver, because if a pass is parallel, it is ruled a backward pass or a lateral.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's the way it's going to be called, but if it was a lateral, he throws the ball down, somebody picks it up and can run for the touchdown.
Well, this is going to bear some big discussion down there. Dick Jorgensen and crew. The first infraction, obviously, was that it was an ineligible receiver. Hanna realized that, and he actually caught the ball and then threw it down, trying to get an incompletion, knowing that they were going to get at least that penalty. And alert Randy Holloway scooped up the ball, and your point about whether it was forward or lateral may play a role here. The Vikings are signaling that touchdown should count, but so far nothing yet from the officials.
It must be remembered that everybody is eligible to take a lateral, an offensive lineman, but he wasn't thinking lateral, he was thinking pass. And it goes to show you should never, when you get the ball, don't ever throw it or do anything with it like that. Just hang on to it and fall down.
Absolutely. Well, they are still sorting this one out, and it'll be an interesting decision. It certainly could have a big effect on the outcome of this game. 24-13. The penalty against Johnny Turner, giving the Vikings a life with a minute to go. Now we're down to 55 seconds left in this first half of a wide-open game. Both teams marching down the field each time they've had the ball. The Vikings finally stopping the Bucs on a 4th and 2 in Viking territory and going the other way for a field goal.
And there's another thing that could enter into this, and that is, no, if it's a lateral, he did have possession. He did have possession. They can pick up a fumble and run it for a touchdown. Sometimes the defense...
If he threw it down deliberately, I guess you would have to consider that a fumble, would you not?
That's right. I'd have to consider it a fumble.
And it did appear to me that he actually caught the ball.
Because if he threw it down, it means he did get possession of it at one time or another. If he has possession, then the defensive man can pick it up and run. If he never had possession, then you can only recover, not advance.
See what they've
Number 73 caught a backward pass, which was legal. Then he threw an illegal forward pass to the ground. The ball is then gone.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow, let's look at that again. This is a first for me. I've never seen this before.
Okay, let's watch Williams, who gets in trouble. Number 73 is Hanna. You're going to see 73 right there. It was... It looked like...
Backward.
Yeah, it was a backward pass.
You know, that would appear to me to be exactly the sound called by Dick Jorgensen and his staff. Unfortunately for Randy Holloway, as he described it, is exactly what happened there.
He was throwing it forward. If he had turned around and kind of thrown it backwards, then he probably...
That's right. Then Holloway would have been able to pick it up and go. How about that? That is about as strange a circumstance as I can recall in an NFL game. Now, I wonder whether Williams knew that he was throwing a legal pass to a guy who would otherwise be ineligible to catch it. Does he see that it is indeed?
It looked like he did it by I don't know, almost by instinct.
That'll be fun to find out. I'm sure he'll be asked after the game. All right. Meanwhile, it is Tampa ball. Second down, and he's going deep for Giles. Incomplete, just overthrown. Bobby Bryant on the coverage, and we're down to 49 seconds remaining first half. You know, if he did throw it deliberately to a man he knew that he could not throw a forward pass to, it showed some extreme presence of mind by Doug Williams to look over and say, hey, I can throw this backwards to anybody and it's legal. Hanna, on the other hand, did not have the presence of mind to realize it was legal, so he did what he thought was the right thing to do. Fortunately for the Bucs, he threw it forward and not backward.
Maybe he slammed it because he thought he had a touchdown.
He was spiking it at midfield.
Oh, well.
49 seconds to go. Boy, that was really unusual. And the crowd, of course, very unhappy here. It cost the Vikings a touchdown. Third down. Screen pass, incomplete, intended for Gary Davis, number 28. And Duck White was over there to make it difficult. Number 72 for the Vikings. So that brings up fourth down. And this will be the first punt of the afternoon. Blanchard comes in, number 16. Eddie Payton awaiting it at the 25-yard line of the Vikings. 45 seconds still remains. So the Vikings are going to get another run at the end zone. Tom Blanchard standing at the 17-yard line of Tampa Bay. High snap. And Blanchard, good job to get the punt off. Taken at the 31 by Payton. Hit at the 41, forward to the 42 or 3-yard line. It was George Yarno, number 68, who made the tackle on him. And with 35 seconds left, the Vikings are in fairly good field position here at the 43-yard line of Minnesota. 30 Morris bringing you the action. The NFL on CBS, this all-important Central Division game. Tucker in motion. Steve Dills is the quarterback. Incomplete for Ricky Young. Well, what do you figure here? Kramer came back in to finish that last drive, Johnny, after he apparently had the wind knocked out of him. He came in for the final play that ultimately led to the field goal. But Bud Grant's got Steve Dills in here for this final attempt here at another score. 31 seconds remaining in the first half. The Lions have kicked another field goal to close the margin to Baltimore to 10-9. They trail 10-9 in the fourth period. In motion is Joe Sensor. Dills slips a little bit, now gets it off complete to Ricky Young. And Young gets out to midfield short of the first down yardage with the time ticking here on the completed pass. 19 seconds to go. And timeout is called by Minnesota.
Let's take a look at the replay, and you're going to see pressure from the top side. And Dills has pretty good instinct here as he goes to here comes Kohler, number 77. He slips, but he still gets out of the grass there and goes forward in the pocket like a good quarterback should, and gets the pass off to Ricky Young, who got a little bit of yardage out of it, and they called the timeout. We have a report that Ricky Bell does have a hyperextended knee, which is very general description of a banged up knee.
It hurts for sure. It is doubtful, I would have to say, that he'll get back in. The ball is at midfield on third down, and Bud Grant and Steve Dills and the offensive staff of the Vikings talking over the strategy. We'll have 19 seconds remaining on this third down play. Robert Miller is in the ball game. Ricky Young is out.
If the Buccaneers try and take the outside receivers out patterns away, they'll probably try and hit somebody coming across the middle and call a quick timeout.
Rashad is split left. Sammy White split right. Word is that Tommy Kramer's all right. Steve Dill's getting the play here. He's got time, and now he runs out of time. Just as he wanted to release the ball for Miller, he got a hit from David Logan, number 76. Brings up 4th down.
And here comes Logan, number 76, up the middle. He does a good job of getting by Swilly and the entire line there. And he was trying to hit Robert Miller out of the backfield, but a good rush by David Logan.
15 seconds to play, first half. 24-13, the Vikings lead it. Tommy Kramer passing to Sammy White, and then to Joe Sensor. Teddy Brown going in from 3 yards out. Rick Danmeyer kicking a field goal for their points. A pair of touchdown passes, Williams to Kevin House. Greg Coleman for the first Viking punt of the afternoon. And Coleman hits it from the 40-yard line. Good kick. And it's going to be down at the goal line by Keith North. Well, he just let that one roll right to the goal line. Did it get in over the line or not?
Yes,
it did. Looked like he had stopped it right at the goal line. We've got 4 seconds on the clock. I don't think it's going to make much difference, but they call it a touchback. It got to the goal line, and Nord waited about a half second too long to down it. So the Bucks will start from the 20 for one play. 4 seconds on the clock. Well, this will probably be your everybody down the field in the pile. There he is. There's Nord. And it looks like maybe he got a little help from his tackle, David Huffman, who might have knocked it onto the goal line. Williams throws it into the Vikings bench to end the half.
And it was a good catch by Jim Huff.
Well, we had about everything in this first half at Metropolitan Stadium. And the Minnesota Vikings have it on the scoreboard at the moment. 24-13, halftime in Bloomington.
In New York.